relax my hair. I'm having itchy scalp. I'm having flaky scalp. My scalp is still. Hey guys, we're on. We have sounds. So sorry about last week. But we're on this week. I'm trying to get my big, gigantical headset. Okay, what on? Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday to you. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and today, for the next 60 minutes, I'm going to answer your questions. We've got a great show today. I'm pretty excited about this show because this is something I get emails about all the time. And when I see people out, they're really concerned about women, especially out. Last week, our show was really, really wonderful because, I enjoyed it. It was about jerry curls and texturizers, but some of you guys never responded, and I know there are some people who had those jerry curls when back in the 70s and I don't know, was it 80s? Okay, but anyways, that's not this week's show. This week, we're going to talk about heated tools. Our phone lines are open at 901-535-9342. That's 535-9342. And I apologize, guys, for coming on a little late. It's one of those things at the station. They just can't seem to get that one together. But I think they're okay. They're pretty cool, folks. It's not Mark, because you know Mark is wonderful. That's our man. Mark is great. It's not him, and it's not Nisi. You know, Nisi messes up on some stuff with her hair, but we are going to pick on Nisi today. You guys, you know we can't do that. And we really can't pick on her with the topic because Nisi, she doesn't use heated tools. I don't have to worry about that right now. Who knows? You never know with Nisi. Okay, all right, but we're gonna, so they're coming on late. I'm sorry about that, guys, but we have a great show today, and in our celebrity here, we don't do that every week, but we're gonna talk about a little boy who did something very courageous. I mean, it was just pretty cool. We're going to talk about him relating to his hair and what he did with his hair and trying to kind of help out folks. But I'm not going to give it away. We'll talk about that toward the end of the show. We've got some questions. I've got tons of questions about heated tools. I want to definitely bring that up. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're just going to get a little bit into the history of these heating tools. But our phone lines are already going, so maybe somebody was waiting on me. So let's go to our phone lines before we start our topic on heated tools. Hello there, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me? Hi there. Oh, it's Anita. Hi, Anita. I'm well. How are you? And you said hi, Nisi.
Hey.
She said hey. No, she hadn't done anything bad to her hair this week.
What she said?
Breathe. Well, Nisi's asking, what did you say first? Okay. Okay, yes, we're going to talk about that. Those are great questions. You're welcome, Anita. Anita wanted to know, how long should you let your hair breathe when you're using heated tools, or I guess how long between the heated tools? I think that's the question. And she wanted to know, what do you use when you're using heated tools on your hair? Well, first, Anita, and let's see, she's going to hang up. There we go. First, Anita, it's not about letting your hair breathe. You can use heated tools daily. I remember back when Oprah was using heated tools every day, and her hair was beautiful. It was full. Then it started to thin out, and we didn't know why, but I figured out why after I heard her say, I was shampooing and conditioning my hair daily, and then I would come in, and then my stylist would flat iron my hair. And then she said, oh, and then I started just shampooing every other day and conditioning, and then he would just flat iron and touch it up between those times since I didn't really need to shampoo. Well, here's the deal. It's not how often you have your hair shampooed. Excuse me, how often you use a heated tool. It's not how, you know, if you need, whether or not you need to let your hair breathe. It's more about what happens on contact. So, and when your heated tool touches your hair, your heated tool needs to touch hair that's clean and hydrated. And if it doesn't have a clean hydrated head of hair, then you're going to burn. This is why we had the thinning that really began to occur on Oprah's strands when she started shampooing and conditioning every other day, but she was still using a heated tool every day. So if you're going to use a heated tool every day, you got to shampoo and condition. The other reason why you thin out is not about breathing of the hair or resting of the hair. It's the temperature. It's how hot the iron is, whether it's a pressing comb, a flat iron, or whatever it is. It's how hot is what happens on contact. Your hair can tolerate, if it's of a fine texture, meaning size of the strand, it can tolerate about 150 degrees, maybe a little bit more depending on the health of the strand. If it's medium, you're looking at around 300 degrees in the temperature, sometimes a little more. Again, it all depends on the condition of your strand. And then if it's coarse hair, then you need to stay at about, you can go up higher, much higher. You can go at 400, 450, which is standard, by the way. Folks who just plug their iron up and use it, it's standard temperature for a heated tool, the average heated tool. But what I recommend is that you get a digital one that has a reading, a temperature control reading, where it tells you, it can be digital, it can be a little dial where you can turn it up to a certain temperature. But let's talk a little bit, I hope that helps out, Anita. Let's talk a little bit about the heated tools and when they came about. And you know, there was a really big debate because everybody knows Madam C.J. Walker. And we talk about her as this Black millionaire woman. I mean, it was pretty cool. She was an awesome lady. I mean, she really was. But if there's a debate, it's still going on, and it's been going on for many, 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 many years. Is she invented the first heated tool, like the pressing comb, or was it this lady named Annie Malone? And you know, the answer is a bit complicated because there's also was this hairdresser in Paris who started using some type of heated apparatus or something she had that would give that straight hair like Egyptian hair. So I mean, but who knows who really invented this device? But Annie Malone was actually the first one who really got a patent on the first heated tool, which was a pressing comb. So we have to give it to Annie Malone, even though we love and admire Madam C.J. Walker. We have to give it to Annie Malone because she's the first one that took the time to do the business thing and get that patent. So Annie Malone, there we go. We've solved it. All right. And then, but Madam Walker, however, she received a patent for her hair comb, and she redesigned it and given it, you know, wide space and teeth, and so she made it a little bit different. So it seems to be a little bit better. It's because it could accommodate hair that was, you know, extremely kinky, or it would help to accommodate the various size of the hair strands, like if it was fine, medium, of course. So yeah, you know, so there you go. So she got her patent, but Annie Malone got hers first. So there it is. Okay. All right. So that's a little bit of history. I mean, it's always interesting. I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. I'm very analytical about it. Okay. So, but let's look at some of the things, and let's get to this. But in 1924 is when you've got your first electric waving iron or curling iron or temperature control, because that way you were able to control the temperature. Because think about it, you had the stove and or the literally the stove in your house, because I remember my mom would just put a pressing comb on top of our stove. But then they in the salons they had these little small gray boxes that were, I mean, they may still use them, and you stick it inside the Marcel iron, yeah, and the pressing comb. So I don't know. It was just some of those things, and then they came up with today those gold-plated ceramic, titanium irons, and all these things that are supposed to be great, and are supposed to save your hair, and are supposed to keep you from burning and all those kinds of things. But you know what? That's not going to happen because, as I said earlier, it depends on the temperature of that particular iron. It does not, or heated tool. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a pressing comb, flat iron. I don't care what it's made out of, ceramic or titanium or metal or whatever. It doesn't matter if if it goes to a higher temperature than the hair strand can tolerate, then you're going to have something called a meltdown. So your strand is actually going to get smaller and smaller, and then you're going to take away the natural curl pattern to your strand if you have natural hair, and then it'll be permanently straightened. So that's something you got to think about. All right, and L'Oreal really did all of this, some of this, and the study revealed that 54% of women actually reach for a curling iron to style their hair, or on a daily basis. 54% of women. Black, white, straight hair, kinky, it didn't matter. 54%. You got a question? Okay. We got a comment or something. Let's go back. Let's see if our chat room. So, you know, that's a pretty big deal. We're going to talk about safety and heated tools. How often can you use a heated tool? We're going to talk about the things to do to prep the hair, because that was one of the questions Anita had. She wanted to know what can you use on the hair, and the scalp and heated tools, and how to get your hair ready for bed and dress it for bed, because I believe in dressing your hair for bed, okay? Because it's really crucial. It determines a lot of things, not just how it's going to look the next morning, but it determines the health of your hair as well. But let's see if we can go over to our little chat room. Let's see here. I'll get that. Okay, here we go. Now let's see what we have here. There's just Nisi saying hello to everyone. No, it's not. Let me show you. Lenny said there's something else on here. I'm going to refresh my screen and see what it says. Okay, so I don't have the other one. Okay, it says, hi, Lisa. Any thoughts on laser comb? Yeah, there was a question. I don't even think we got a chance to answer. Yeah, I think we answered that. But laser combs, yeah, that was... A laser comb is used to help with alopecia or baldness. And so a laser comb would be something that you would use if you had thinning in the, say, diffuse thinning. A laser comb would help with that. But let me tell you what happens with the laser comb. Let's see, I think I'm on the, yeah, I thought, okay. Did I lose my caller? Uh-oh. Okay. If I cut you off, call back, caller. I'm so sorry about that. But anyways, so basically what a laser comb is supposed to do is supposed to stimulate the inner follicular activity within the follicles. So it's supposed to help with hair regrowth, because sometimes your follicle is just lying dormant and it's not functioning as it should. So the inner follicular activity refers to circulation, because with good circulation, and I really don't like my hair like this, guys, for those of you who are online, with good circulation, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have poor circulation. You're going to have a problem with everything within the follicle itself functioning, because keep in mind the follicle is an organ, and that little teeny tiny organ has some precious cargo that is developing, which is called your hair strand. So you've got to really, really be careful with that. So a laser comb is supposed to help with that. But I did test some of the ones that are on the market that are FDA approved, and they really don't do very much. I think that if you want some type of light therapy, which is what laser combs fall under that umbrella, my suggestion would be to have a professional do this. And I would suggest that you have a hair and scalp analysis initially, and then once you do, then your expert or your trichologist can tell you whether or not this is something that you will benefit from, because not all alopecia is internal, which is what you would have. A laser comb will benefit on internal follicular alopecia. Not all alopecia is internal, some of it's external. So you have to differentiate. And remember, we talk about this all the time. You need to know exactly the category of alopecia that you're suffering from. And once you know that, then you will be able to get the proper diagnosis, and from that point, the proper treatment, and be able to take advantage of your options. But when you don't know, and you think that just because you're balding or there's alopecia there, that you perhaps are suffering from an internal follicular activity or internal follicular alopecia baldness, then you may be led the wrong way. So be careful about that. But that's what a laser comb does. It just helps to stimulate the follicle, and it's supposed to help with hair growth. It's under the umbrella of light therapy, but it's something that should be done by a professional. It's not something that you can just spend that kind of money on purchasing one to take it at home. Now, that's my opinion as a trichologist, so I'm going to stand by that. Okay, so we want to talk about these heated tools. Our phone lines are open, and I lost a caller, and I do apologize for that. My number is 901-535-9342, and that's 901-535-9342. Let's talk about safety with heated tools. There's a couple of things, and I have a story to tell you guys because it was really, really horrible. When I was younger, I used a curling iron a lot, and also used heat rollers, which is horrible. Heat rollers are like the worst, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But I was sitting on the floor in my house watching TV, and my curling iron, which is so dangerous, was plugged up and on the couch. And so I'm sitting there, and I would look at TV and reach for the curling iron, curl my hair, put it back down, reach for it. Okay, so I'm like, oh, I'm all done. So I decided to get up. So when I got up, I put my arm on the heated tool, put my weight on it to lift myself up. Oh my, that was a horrible burn. So be careful with using heated tools. Maybe you guys are not doing that, but yes, so you could burn yourself. A heated tool could cause a first or second degree burn, even a third degree. So when we talk about first degree, generally the follicle will recover from that. And this is a scalp burn. It will recover from that, but a second degree, the follicle most likely won't, because you may have scar tissue develop. And third degree is definitely something you may have to quickly go to the emergency room about. Let's go to our phone lines. Hello, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me? Mm-hmm. Well, think about it, as I was saying earlier. Think about your, let's see, hold on just a second. Let's get this one on hold. Okay, are you still there? Okay, great. Think about it. When anything that's going within the body or happening within your body systems, then it could affect your hair and how your follicle functions. So that will affect how your hair grows. So just think about that for a moment. But then we have to look at the way you're losing hair. And if the way you're losing hair will determine exactly whether or not this is something that this is something that will cause you to lose hair directly because of that problem. So with that being said, if you're having balding, if you're parting your hair and your parts are larger and you're not able to cover those areas, then that's balding. So you have less hair per square inch. But if your hair, you have hair at the scalp, but it's coming out a lot, that's most likely breakage. So what we need to do is get in the mirror, and take a look and see, do we have a density change? In other words, the hairs per square inch are decreasing in number, or do we just have hair that when we feel our hair, the hair feels thinner? Which one is it? Have you looked at that? It's feeling thinner. So you still have hair on your scalp, but it feels thinner on your strand. Okay, so what that tells me, without examining you, that you have follicles that are functioning. So that's a good thing. So what's happening, you're having some indirect problems. It may be because of what's going on within the body systems, but it may not be. It may be just the body, your hair is now drier because of what's going on within the body systems, and now you are not adjusting to that. So the strand is beginning to separate, peel off its layers because it's dehydrating. So that may be it. So what I recommend, since you have hair and you don't have balding, then I recommend a regimen of deep conditioning twice a week and hydrate. Okay, super. And yay, okay. And hydrating your hair, starting with the hair on the ends and then the hair. Well, first, do you have a relaxer or a natural? Okay, well then, yay, all right. And so starting with the ends, you want to hydrate the ends, and I would recommend a product we use called Hair Vitamin, and put that on the ends, and then so you can open the hair up and then start from ear to ear, front to back is what I call it. You start on one side of the head and you work your moisturizer on the hair close to the scalp, and I would recommend hydration on the hair close to the scalp, and then you begin to part thin, not super thin, parts all the way across till you get to the opposite side of your head, and you're going front to back. And what you do is you work that in, and once you do that, then your moisture levels are going to be up. So you're not going to have those little balls on the end that you're probably seeing. That fall off on your shoulders and everywhere. You're not going to have that webbing or tangling. All of that's just going to go away. Also, I recommend, we did mention that you're deep conditioning already twice a week. So you're going to be okay. If the problem is persistent, where you just can't get a grip on it, then you should come in and let me take a look under the microscope. Oh, you're in Texas. I just had I had a patient from Tyler, Texas, who flew in to have her, oh, maybe she drove up, to have an analysis. And so maybe she'll call in today because she listens to the show. But yes, keep me posted then. So I want you to email me, and what I'll do is send you a video of just making some recommendations, and just remind me of our conversation, okay? Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. Bye. Hi, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me. Hey there. Okay, I think I lost her. I'm not as good. You know, I'm on Bev Johnson's show once a month for an interview, and I'm always trying to watch Bev with the phone lines because I'm a newbie at this. Okay, guys, in the live studio handling, you've got, I mean, I don't even know how many lines we have here. 10, 15 more. Okay, how many did you say?
I think it's 10.
10. We have 10. Yeah, well, always Mark knows what's going on in this room. Okay. All right, we have 10 phone lines. Okay, so someone called back. All right. Hi there, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me? You have the wrong number. Okay, are you waiting on Mark? Okay, all right. I bet you that's one of your folks, Mark. Mark is not on yet, guys. I mean, goodness, guys, it's only 30 minutes into the show. She said she has the wrong number. Okay, all righty. All right, so if you have a question, my phone lines are open at 901-535-9342. That's 901-535-9342. And we're talking about heated tools today. We just talked about the safety of heated tools. But someone asked earlier, how often can you use a heated tool? And remember, I've kind of answered that question saying it doesn't matter how often, it's what happens on contact. So the only thing you need to remember is to have a clean, hydrated strand before you use the heated tool. And you also need to make sure that you want to make sure the temperature It's going to, depending on your strand, the size of your strand. And I do strand readings. You guys can go on my website. If you're trying to determine what texture hair you have, you're trying to determine what type of damage you have, you can actually send your strands into to me. And the caller earlier from Texas, you can go on my website and maybe do a strand reading. That's something that I find really, really useful. And it has a little questionnaire there. And I actually take the strands and view them under the microscope like I would with an analysis under several levels of magnification. I'm not able to view your scalp under the microscope. But yeah, I could do that with your strands. Okay, and another thing we want to talk about is how to really prep your hair for heated tools. I mean, I think that's really crucial. And this is going to help answer Anita's question that she had earlier. What do you put on your hair before you put these heated tools on? Number one, we talked about the temperature, but number one, we want the hair clean, and then we want to make sure that we condition our hair, deep conditioning. You want to keep that balance of protein and moisture. But then once you finish, you want to towel dry your hair to get that excess water out. And I have a product called Cool Down. So you need something that's a heat protectant, but not just any heat protectant, because your heat protectant should be one that's going to just hold your style. It should be one that's going to keep your moisture level up, because while you're heating your hair with that heated tool, you want to be able to keep that temperature up higher. So moisturizers are the best for doing that. So that's what I would recommend. And like I said, to make it easy for you, I did develop one called Cool Down. So it just keeps the hair cooler. And think about it, the heated tool is going to burn through that particular, if you like get your heated tool too hot, it'll burn through that treatment that you have on, like the cool down, before it actually burns your hair. So that's pretty cool. That's why it's so important not to use a heated tool on dirty hair, because if you've gotten it too hot and you burn through your cool down, then you're going to burn your hair if you pick it up and use your heated tool the next day. So that's really the best way to prep the hair. Clean hair, condition hair, deep condition, and then you got a towel blot it, and then you're ready to use your heat protectant on it. And you want one that's going to really raise the moisture levels up. So the one I would recommend is called Cool Down. So my website at lisaakbari.com, you can find that. And I always like to do that, guys. I mean, I did shows for years, not shows, but it's been a while since I've done some in-studio stuff. But I never talked about my product. I never talked about what's the best product. Well, I have to now. I have people that are like, why don't you tell us about your product? So when you hear me recommending my product, it's because I know what it does. I developed that product. I know it's going to do what I tell you it's going to do. So that's why I don't recommend other products. So I'm sorry about that. And I stopped because years ago, what I realized is that what happened, the companies would change their formula, and I have no control over that. But I have control over my formulas, okay? So that's my deal. So I do recommend the Cool Down because I know what it's going to do. All right, another thing that I'm getting lots of questions about is the scalp and heated tools. And remember, we talked about that a little bit a few minutes ago. And you got to be really careful, because a lot of ladies who are transitioning, they will press their scalp hair, and as they're transitioning, you have to be careful. You want to wait at least 3 months so that you have a good line of demarcation, a difference. One, to protect your hair that's chemically treated, and then you want to be away from that scalp and not try to press right up against the scalp, because you can get a first-degree burn, as I said, which is where it burns the epidermis, or you can get a second-degree burn that burns the epidermis and into the dermis, and then you can have some problems with scar tissue, causing us to lose the follicle when you start to burn your scalp. So be really careful with that. Our phone lines are open, and we're talking about heated tools today. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari. If you're just tuning in, I'm here each and every Sunday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. I've got some folks online looking and tuning in. Thank you guys so much for calling. But you're welcome, I mean, for viewing, but you're welcome to call in if you have any questions. And let's see if we have anything on the chat over there. And then we're going to move on to talk about how to get your hair ready for bed with heated tools. Dressing the hair for bed is what I call it. Yes, you do have to dress your hair for bed, and it's not putting a bonnet on, tying it up with a scarf. That's not the only thing you got to do. There's other things we want to do. We want to give the hair what it's asking for. Then I'm going to get to some questions, because I've got several questions, and I never get through all of my questions today. I am going to try to do that. And then in the hair news, I have a young man, Thomas. Oh, and he's so cute. I've got to really get that posted somewhere. I'm going to send it to Nisi. Do you think you can get it? It's Thomas. Give it Thomas. We're going to talk about Thomas and what he did with all this hair. With Thomas. We're going to talk about Thomas later on. Okay. All right. So yes. We're just going to post him at some point, because people need to see this brave young man and what he did. Okay. Let's get to this question on, and our phone lines are open, as I said, 901-535-9342. That's 901-535-9342 or WDIA. And those of you who want to tune in and listen to me on the radio, you can actually download the free iHeart app, and you can listen to me from anywhere in the world. So you don't have to be in front of your computer. You can be on your cell phone and download that free iHeart app, and you can get right there, which makes us national and international. Okay, so let's see what we have here on our chat. Said, hey, Miss Akbari. I've got somebody coming in November. Okay, cool. All right, I can't wait to see you. How often should a person shampoo their hair when they wear? So if do you have heated tool, you have natural hair, and you're wearing your hair straight? Is that what you're saying? You're flat ironing your hair? Is that? I want to make sure I'm clear on that. But I can tell you right away, it does not matter whether you have natural straight hair or relaxed straight hair, or your natural hair and you're flat ironing your hair. It doesn't matter. It's really important that you think about your hair and scalp and the condition and health of it. And we have been driven for so long as Black women, and I have to say this because we're guilty of this. It's driven by our hairstyle. So we determine how often we clean our hair and shampoo our hair based on that style. Okay, so it's really a mystery to a lot of women when it comes to flat ironing their hair. Once they flat iron their hair, they're thinking, okay, it's going to hold up for a couple of weeks, so maybe I can wait. Well, you really don't need to do that. You need to shampoo your hair and scalp and have the same kind of regimen, regardless to whether you're wearing it straight or not, meaning that you need to follow the same rule that your hair and scalp is going to need to be shampooed at least once a week. If you have scalp problems or if you're really active, you're going to have to shampoo based on that activity. For example, if you're working out, then you don't need to leave the sweat on more than 48 hours. And there are a lot of options with that. If you have braids, I can help you with the braid program that allows you to shampoo on top of your braids. If you have things like if you're swimming or sweating or running or walking, and you see I have to say all to the Trekkies. Is that what you call it? Vera Trek? I know it's girl Trek, but you call yourself Trekkers. All the Trekkers, because I know you can't Star Trek. You gotta be careful. Girl Trek is Trekkers. Yeah, I have that on in my Fitbit. So when you're working out and you're walking and you're doing all these things, you need to, in 48 hours, you need to get that sweat off of your scalp. Another question is how many times is too often? Let's see, get over here, for people to straighten their hair before damage can occur, for those who wear their hair straight during the winter months. Well, Again, it's never how often you shampoo, excuse me, it's never how often you use your heated tool. It's how hot the heated tool is and whether or not your hair is clean and hydrated. If your hair is clean and hydrated, you can use your heated tools every day. That would mean you would have to get up and you'd have to shampoo, condition your hair, and I would recommend you just fan dry it with a dryer on warm, and just fan dry it. And then you can use your heated tool, but you should use your cool down, your protectant. But if you shampoo and condition it, you can do it every day. And that's one of the things that Oprah did for years. But if you are not going to shampoo and condition your hair, then you are going to have a problem with using a heated tool, because your hair is going to burn after that first time, even with your protectant, if you start touching it up every day. If you're shampooing, if you mean, can you shampoo every week? Excuse me, can you use the heated tool every week? Yes, if you shampoo and condition every week. So it's not the how often, is what happens on contact. Just watch your temperature, just watch how hot your heated tool is, and you're going to be just fine. If you have clean, hydrated hair and your heated tool is on, let's repeat that because we've got a lot more people that's logged on. Let's repeat the temperatures. If you have fine hair, you want to make sure that you're using about 150 degrees. I know that seems low, but for fine hair, it's enough. 150, you may move up 150, 175, 200 max. Then if you have medium hair, then you want to stay at around 300. And if your hair is coarse, then you can go up. You can go up to about 400, 450. But other than, and you have to use a protectant. So you're good. Just don't be afraid of your heated tool. Just stay safe. Okay, that's what's going to be really, really crucial. Okay, we want to talk about how do you dress your hair for bed if you're wearing heated tools, because that's a really crucial one. A lot of people want to know, how are they going to do that? How am I going to wear these heated tools and dress my hair for bed? Well, when it's straight, it's to wrap it. So, you remember old school wrapping the hair? Many people did it. It's where they would take the hair and brush it around the head. But let me give you some tips on that. Let's give you some tips on when you wrap your hair. You want to take your moisturizer, rub it in your hand so you have a nice glaze, and then you take it and you work on the ends lightly, okay, smoothing down the ends, and then you smooth it around the hairline, and then you can take a paddle brush, not the ones with the bristle, but the ones with the little balls on the ends, and then you can brush it around, and then get a silk or satin tissue lame, a scarf that's going to that's going to have some shine, something that won't dehydrate. Use that to tie the head up. We're going to go to the chat room, but let's go back to our phone lines first, and then we'll go back to our chats. Okay, guys, hold on. Hi there. Hey, you have a question for me? This is WDIA, but this is Ask the Hair Doctor. Are you looking for Mark? Why are we so fascinated? Okay. All right. Well, okay. So you're getting some feedback. I don't know what that's coming from. Do you want to hang up and call back, or I can't hear you. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that, caller. We were getting some crazy feedback. I wasn't able to, but I was really interested in what you were about to say, so you're welcome to call back if you'd like. Okay, let's go to our chat room, and we have a question. You said fine hair, 150.
I did that.
Oh, you did that. Okay, good. Can you use aloe vera gel before blow drying the hair? You can use aloe vera gel, but if you use it before blow drying the hair, aloe vera gel really needs to be mixed and blended into your product. It's going to be a little too dense. It won't go into the cuticle as well unless it's processed a certain way. Now it'll still stay natural, but you still need to blend it a certain way. So I wouldn't recommend aloe vera gel. I wouldn't recommend aloe vera gel to be used on before blow drying, but I would recommend, again, that cool down may be the best thing for you. That's what I would highly recommend. But that's a very good question, because aloe vera hydrates. So that's a very good question. But yeah, you would have to really be careful with that. Even with the juice, it's a great hydrator, but it's a blend product. You don't want to put it on just on unless it's with your scalp. Your scalp will benefit, but your hair, it would be too much for your hair. It would overpower it. Okay, let's go back to our phone lines. Hi there. You have the question for me? Yeah, I don't know. It got a lot of feedback. Yes, it was. You said, I'm sorry. I went to high school, Hamilton. Yes. Yes. So do you have a question about hair? Let's do that. Okay. Okay. Well, it's a fascination because hair is one of the ways we project the image. So this is a gentleman caller, everybody who's online. It's pretty cool. I'm so thankful for your call. But it's a fascination with hair because women and even men, I have male patients as well, even men, we're fascinated because it projects an image. It's the image you're trying to project. We use that for that very reason. So it's really, really important that we address these things. How do we keep our hair healthy? And that's really what my show was about. And it was developed, and we decided to do this show because there were so many questions. I get tons and tons of these types of questions. Yeah, so that's the reason for the fascination, because people want to know, just like they're fascinated. I mean, I've heard shows that we lost him. Okay, I've heard shows. There was a gentleman caller, and I thank him for this call. He wants to know, why is everybody so fascinated about hair? But I've heard shows where people are fascinated about how to paint a wall. I mean, why hair is important? You know what I'm saying? I think that, how many of you out there think it's important? It's your hair. It keeps the, yeah, Nisi said, protect your head from the sun. And that's one good reason, right, Nisi? But the main thing is it just keeps this is a part of your body. This is a part of who you are. It doesn't define you, but it is a part of, it's like, why am I so fascinated with keeping my fingers all on my hand? I mean, I'm fascinated because hair is important, and it's important to a lot of women. Yes, it doesn't mean that we're vain. It's just important. Okay. All right. So somebody gave me was that a high five? I think it is. You see it, Denise? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you guys for that, because it is. But our phone lines are open at 901-535-9342. That's 901-535-9342. And we're talking about hair. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, and we're talking about hair and heated tools and our fascination with our hair, as our male caller has helped us to expand our topic. Okay, so let's go to our questions now. We have tons of questions here. Let's go back to our phone lines. Hi there, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me? Oh, no. See, and Miss Anita said she wants to get a husband. That's why we're so fascinated. Okay, all righty then. Thank you so much for that call. That's really pretty cool. She said that. So, sir, did you hear that? Miss Anita said that the reason why she's fascinated and obsessed with the hair is because she wants to get a husband. All right, I got it. Okay, now with that, let's go back to our topic. I love Anita. She's just so much fun. She's so cool, so much fun. And she calls and listens to me every week. So she is just so cool. Okay, so we were talking about dressing for bed. So one of the things that we have to do, we talked about wrapping the hair. The other thing, because I want to get to some of these questions that we have, because we got some pretty cool questions here as well, is we want to look at how we're going to wear our hair the next day. So if we're going to use heated tools, but we want to wear our hair with the volume or body or some curl pattern, then we want to do things like pin curl the hair. So first, again, it's always about keeping the hair hydrated. So we want to take a small amount of moisturizer, put it on our ends, take the ends, wrap it with the end paper, and then roll it down the whole section down our finger, and then clip it with a bobby pin. I don't recommend the pin curl clippies because that could hurt your head and make your scalp sore. So I wouldn't recommend that. And then at the end of the day, you have one or two things. You sleep on a satin pillowcase, or you can tie your hair with a silk satin tissue lace, some smooth fabric scarf. Do not use bonnets because it causes too much friction on the hairline, so it could rub the hairline away, and then it could also ruin the hairstyle. So don't do those. We're going to get to a question. There's one question from online. She said, I curl my hair every morning before I go to work. Usually I keep my hair shorter, but lately I've been wearing it longer. I've noticed that there is more hair than usual on the kitchen sink, on my kitchen sink. Okay, my hair also seems dry and shedding more. What should I do differently? Well, number one, when your hair gets longer, your hair is going to, that's an aging process. That means the hair you've had twice the amount of, and quadruple the amount of shampooing, of handling the hair, of heated tools, all of these things. So you've got wear and tear. It's kind of like an outfit. Hair is thread-like fabric. So if you wear this outfit today, it depends, because I know some folks has got some outfits that look brand new. They take very good care of them. That's the point I'm making. If you wear it and you don't take care of it, your hair is going to wear and tear, and that's what your outfit will do. So your hair itself is just basically aging and wearing and tearing. So what I recommend, if you're trying to have longer hair and not have I'm almost sure that hair is probably breaking and not shedding, but check by looking at your strands. If you see the club-like tissue, it's a hair bulb that's shedding, but we have some natural shedding. Keep that in mind. But if it's all of it or most of it is just broken, short pieces or long, thin pieces, then that's a form of breakage. So what you need to do differently is the things that I've been mentioning in the show is you need to deep condition your hair. You need to deep condition your hair if you're having this problem twice a week. If you're not having the problem and you're not trying to stabilize your strand and you're just trying to prevent problems from occurring, you want to deep condition at least once a week. And that co-washing and no pooing, we're going to talk about that next week. We don't want to start that because that doesn't do it. It softens, it detangles, but it doesn't do anything else but damage. So we want to make sure we're doing that. The next question is, I have two little girls, 5 and 7, and I want to have their hair straightened in a salon. I'm scared that it might hurt their natural curl pattern. What should I do to make sure that the hair stays safe? What was your question, Nisa?
I think it's too early.
Nisa says too early. That's her answer. Your 5 and 7 is too young.
Well,
No.
5 is 7.
7 not. Okay, Nisa, you heard that, right? Okay. Now, let me tell you, if you insist on pressing your baby's hair, Nisa said they're too young. But I mean, it's okay. Really, it's okay. I think that this is what I tell my patients when they bring their babies in. What I tell them is, if you are willing to take care of the hair, because that's a great point that you made, Nisi. Some people want their babies to have these relaxers or pressed hair or all these things, but they don't care for the hair like they should. And that's where the problem comes in. That's when I say they're too young. You want to make sure that if you're busy and you can't do it, then you need to make sure that you just wait till the child is old enough to take care of their own hair. Okay, but let's talk about what she needs to look for. The same things I mentioned. Number one, you need to make sure that your little girls are going into a salon where someone is going to gauge the temperature. They're going to shampoo, deep condition, and they're going to use protectant. You can actually purchase my cool down and take it in with you. Number two, you want to make sure that you're going to dress their hair for bed properly. Take the ponytail holders off, plait it in a loose plait, and then comb the hair in the morning. Okay? And you want to use moisturizers and oil on the hair before going to bed. Okay, let's go to our phone lines. Hi, and welcome to Ask the Hair Doctor. You have a question for me? You have a question for me?
That's that man.
Okay, I think we're getting some party line stuff going on here because I can't hear you. Do you have a question for me? I'm so sorry. It's cutting off because I can't hear you. So just try us again, or try to maybe send us if you're online. That would be great. And then the other piece you mentioned about the curl pattern. Curl pattern, when that hair is straight, and this is something you guys want to know. When your hair is straight and after you've shampooed it and you've pressed your hair or you flat iron your hair, that means you have heat damage. So that heat damage, what has happened, your hair has began to lose its ability to have its proper type. In other words, kinky hair has a type, which is slightly kinky, extreme kinky, or medium degree of kinkiness. And so when that occurs, then your hair, you must protect that. But if you have hair that your temperature is too high, what it's going to do is cause a meltdown of the cuticle, which is your top layer, and then it's going to burn into your cortex, which is where you get your shape of your hair. So when that cortex burns, it's almost like getting a relaxer. So it burns and you have permanently straight hair. So that's what you want to be careful about. That's why it's important to gauge the heat, because you will have a meltdown and have permanently straight hair. We have Melanie that has a question for us. She said, will pressing your hair for a long period of time cause your hair to become permanently dry, stiff, or difficult to grow long? And this comes back to the same thing, Melanie. You want to make sure that you're protecting and preserving your hair, watching the temperature, the things that I just mentioned. You've got to do that. Now, will it cause your hair to become stiff and dry? You can't, and your hair can be really stiff, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to just because you're using heated tools. Using the heated tools doesn't cause it. Let's talk about dry hair. It's becoming dry because you probably have caused some damage to it, and it has burned into your cuticle again, and your moisture levels are now being affected. Your protein levels, your hair will get weak, stiff and dry, difficult to obtain length, your moisture levels, brittle. Those are all the things that can happen. So just watch that and you will be fine. Do not be afraid of heated tools, guys. It's another tool that we can use to get the look we want. We just have to know the rules and then follow the rules. And that's what I tell my patients all the time. If you don't know them, I can give them to you, but you got to follow them. And that's going to be crucial. Okay, guys? All right, so let's get back, because I really want to, before we go off the air, I want to talk about our little, I call him our little celebrity, because he was really cool about this. But I think we have one more question that we have here. Let's see. Yeah, she said, the last time I got my hair done, my stylist burned my scalp and with her irons. I didn't hurt that bad at the time, but it seemed 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks and my scalp is itchy in that area. What should I do? Well, if it's itchy in that area, it's trying to heal. The best thing to do is to, number one, you can try, if it's persistent, we have some scalp treatments that help to create an environment for this epidermis to renew itself. I would recommend our scalp treatment level 1 on my website. It's mostly made of pure aloe vera gel. Remember me talking about that earlier, how aloe vera gel is great for the scalp and skin. But that's what I would recommend. If it's really persistent, you need to see a dermatologist. Okay, so the next one is, I have have a relaxed hair, and I use a curling iron sometimes to touch my hair up between the visits. I'm concerned that I may be burning my hair. You should be concerned because you're probably burning your hair. Well, at least it smells burn. Oh my goodness. She said, what should she do differently? Well, you need to stop using the heated tools between the visits. Remember, the way you can use your iron every day is to have clean hair every day. Okay, keep in mind that's really crucial. So you got to have a clean, regulated, hydrated environment on your scalp. You need a protein and moisture on your hair, and you need to make sure you watch that temperature. We have a chat question, and this was she said, can my hair, and I think we have about 3 or 4 minutes. We're gonna get to our little celebrity. Can my hair dry now? And I'm so glad someone asked the question. One of the things that I find is what we call bubble hair. That's the term for it, but it's an enlarged cortex, where when you blow dry from wet to dry, layer really boiling under there. So what you want to do is you want to protect them, and then you want to fan dry the hair. You metal brushes or run your hair. You want to fan dry, and then you want, when it's almost dry, you can take it and comb through it. You can use a brush, but you don't want to use the metal one, like a Denman, something that's round brush, but be really cute. But what happens over dry, you got to keep it on the temperature low, warm, even a cool warm, because if you over dry, then the cuticles will separate, and you'll just literally see the hair flying through the air. Away from those comb attachments, guys. Smoke, and then you'll see that hair flying. That's burning away your cuticle, and it's literally coming out. So blow going to cause you, unless you do it in that. Any of you who felt like you got an answer but you want to talk about it a little bit more, make sure you email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com. Some of these online shopping, you can call my institute at 901-0445. That's on tomorrow, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys. Let me, before we go off about this little guy, his name is Thomas Moore. He's 10 years old, and he's from Maryland. Noticed watching a video about a 5-year-old girl who had lost her hair during chemotherapy. Oh, treatment for cancer. That's, oh my goodness. Go through that. Really moved by the effects of she decided to grow his own, oh my goodness, and little girl. Wow. After 2 years of growing his hair, had his hair cut, and he's got some pictures. He's got 2 big bundles of hair holding up, providing enough hair for, oh my goodness, for children with cancer. All right, you get the 3 cheers, and I only give my 3. Yay, Thomas. Yay, Thomas. Yay, Thomas. Okay, guys, we're just about out of time, and Thomas, you're the hero of the day. That I'm going to get it over to Nisi and our hair history time. But we have had a great show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to call my number, 535-1-380-4445 on a purchase in my website, lisaakbari.com. Next week, we're going to talk about co-washing. Oh my goodness, that's going to be a fun show. Well, I'm Lisa Akbari. To God be the glory in Jesus. Right here, the hair doctor.
Absolutely. Just stay tuned to Mr. Mark.
I'll let him have that.
Sunday evening's best gospel.
I don't know who that is. Okay. guys, I am off the air. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you email me if you have questions. Oh, now. Goodness, yay. Woo. I got the curly. Okay, hopefully we'll get to our cipher reading on Thursday. I didn't do that this week. I just got slammed, and all the appointments ran right together. Some surprises for y'all too, you natural hair beauties out there. I'm so excited about you guys, and I've got coming up with my products. Yay! To do guys about that, but I gotta go now. All right, a wonderful week. I love you guys. If you're just viewing morning, evening, or afternoon, it is going to be archived. So tell your friends. All righty. Hi.